If you're studying Macbeth for GCSE, your examiner is going to ask you about the same things every time. Ambition, power, gender, the supernatural, guilt. Most revision videos will give you a list of quotes and themes to memorize. That is fine, but memorizing is not understanding. And understanding is what gets you top marks. I'm going to show you how this play actually works as human behavior. Because if you understand why these characters do what they do, you will never struggle with a Macbeth question again. Believe me, I have taught drama for many years. This is what I know. Let me give you just enough plot to orient yourself. So we are not going to go scene by scene. We are going to go underneath. Macbeth is a celebrated general, brave, loyal, respected. Duncan is his king, trusted and admired. Lady Macbeth is his wife, and she's far more complicated than most people give her credit for. The three witches, they tell Macbeth he will be king one day. His friend, Banquo, is standing right beside him when it happens. That prophecy sets everything in motion. But here's the first thing you need to understand. And this is the thing most students miss entirely. The prophecy does not create the ambition. The ambition was already there. The witches simply make it visible. We will come back to that. Before we go any further, I need to give you some context, because without it, you cannot fully understand why what Macbeth does is so catastrophic. In Jacobean England, the king was not just a political figure. He was appointed by God. The divine right of kings meant that the monarch ruled because God had chosen him. Killing the king was not just murder, it was an act against the divine order of the entire world. Duncan had sons, a legitimate line of succession. Everything is in order. Macbeth is outside that line. He's powerful, he's celebrated, but the crown is not his by right. So when he kills Duncan, he's not just removing a man he admires. He's tearing a hole in the fabric of the world as his society understands it. That is why everything that follows feels so wrong, even to Macbeth, even as he does it. Now, the witches. The first prophecy is already true when they speak it. Macbeth is already Thane of Glamis. The second prophecy comes true within minutes. He is named Thane of Cawdor before he even returns home. And the third prophecy is the one that detonates everything. Here is what most productions get wrong about the witches. They are not planting an idea in Macbeth's head. The ambition is already there. It was always there. The witches simply make it visible to him. They show him what he already wants, but has not yet allowed himself to fully see. The outer event does not create the inner state, it reveals it. That is a profound psychological truth dressed up as supernatural theater, and it completely changes how you read those early scenes. Macbeth is not seduced by the witches, he is recognized by them, and that recognition terrifies him because he cannot unknow what he knows about himself. For your essay, I would suggest you think the witches function as a mirror, not as a catalyst. The ambition they reflect was already present in Macbeth before they spoke a single word. But now, let's talk about ambition, because this is the theme every examiner returns to. We quite like it, and most students answer it at a surface level. Ambition in Macbeth is not presented as an external force that arrives and corrupts an innocent man. It is internal. It is already there. Shakespeare is making a much more uncomfortable argument that the capacity for what Macbeth does exists inside a person who is, by every external measure, good, brave, loyal, and loved, capable of poetry and doubt, and still, he does. Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires. This is Macbeth before the murder, and before any decision is made, and he already knows what he wants. He's asking the darkness to hide it from everyone else, including himself. For your essay, ambition in Macbeth is presented as something hidden beneath his virtue, not opposed to it. That is what makes it so disturbing. Now for this section, I want you to really sit with, because this is where Shakespeare does something extraordinary. Macbeth doesn't become evil suddenly. He becomes evil one decision at a time. And Shakespeare shows you every step. The first murder is the hardest. He hallucinates, he hears voices, he can barely speak afterwards. This is a man doing something that goes against everything that he is. The second act of violence is faster. He kills the guards before anyone can question it. A decision made in seconds. By the third, he is organizing it from a distance. He hires men to do it. He's not even in the room. He tries to have Banquo's son killed, a child, and he does not flinch. By the fifth, he's ordering the massacre of an entire family, including women and children, people who have done nothing. That's not evil arriving from the outside. That is a person dismantling themselves piece by piece, all in service of staying in the path they chose. Every compromise feels justified in the moment. Every murder is necessary to protect the last one, until there's nothing left of the original person, just their objective and the fear of losing it. I am in blood steeped in so far that should I wade no more, returning were as tedious as go over. So in plain language, he has gone so far, there is no point turning back. That is not evil speaking, that is exhaustion. And if you think about it, it's far more frightening than evil. For your essay, I suggest you think about corruption in Macbeth is presented as gradual and cumulative. Each act of violence makes the next one easier, and the person committing it less recognizable. Now we get to Lady Macbeth, and she's the character most GCSE students underestimate. I see her as the more psychologically complex character in the entire play. Macbeth's journey is almost linear. He loses himself to his objective progressively. We watch it happen in one direction. Lady Macbeth does the opposite journey, and it's far more devastating. She begins by suppressing everything. She literally asks the spirits to unsex her. What's that? To remove her natural impulses, to make her capable of what she knows Macbeth cannot do alone. She locks every feeling, every doubt, every human hesitation completely away, all in service of one single objective, his greatness, not her own, his. And here's the thing, most productions miss entirely. Her objective is not power for herself, it is for Macbeth. She sacrifices her own humanity for someone else's ambition, and he barely notices. It works until it doesn't. We get to that sleepwalking scene where everything is suppressed. And finally, she breaks open. When conscious control is gone, everything she locks away comes out flooding. Out damn spot. 3 words and everything she held for an entire play. For your essay, Lady Macbeth challenges Jacobean gender expectations by taking on the role of instigator and strategist. But Shakespeare shows you the psychological cost of that suppression. The sleepwalking scene is not moral punishment, it is the psychological collapse, the consequence of holding too much for too long. The supernatural is one of the most interesting themes to write about in Macbeth, because Shakespeare never resolves them. Did the witches make this happen, or did Macbeth make it happen because he believed it would? Think about it this way. Every prophecy comes true, but every prophecy comes true because of a choice Macbeth makes. The witches predict, Macbeth acts. Shakespeare never tells you which came first. That ambiguity is deliberate and is sophisticated because it means the play works on 2 levels simultaneously. A story about fate and a story about a man who used fate as an excuse for what he already wanted to do. For your essay, think about Shakespeare deliberately leaves the role of the supernatural ambiguous. This allows the audience to read Macbeth's actions as either fated or chosen. That ambiguity is the point, not an oversight. Now let me show you how to approach an exam question. The examiner is not looking for a list of quotes, they are looking for an argument, a clear point of view, supported by evidence, analyzed with precision and connected to context. Simple question. How does Shakespeare present ambition in Macbeth? The point to make. Shakespeare presents ambition in Macbeth as an internal force, present before any external influence arrives. The evidence. Stars, hide your fires, let not light see my black and deep desires. The analysis. Macbeth speaks these words before the murder of Duncan, revealing that his desire for the crown existed independently of the witch's prophecy. The metaphor of hidden fire suggests something dangerous that must be concealed even from himself. In a context, for a Jacobean audience, ambition that overrides loyalty to the divine appointed king. That would represent not just personal failing, but cosmic disorder. That is a top mark answer, not because it uses the most quotes, because it makes an argument and proves it. That matters. The examiner is not looking for what you know, they are looking for what you can do with what you know. And now to close. Macbeth is not a play about a bad man doing bad things. It is a play about a good man who chose one decision at a time to burn himself down. And Shakespeare makes you watch every single step. That's why it is still being studied 400 years later. Because it's completely believable. Because we recognize something in it. If you understand that, you understand everything your examiner is going to ask you. And next, we are going to look at another play where power tears people apart. Same questions, different world. If that interests you, There's a lot more where this came from.